Have you ever imagined how life can change in the blink of an eye? Those days that start like any other, but suddenly, an unexpected moment turns everything upside down? Maybe you've experienced something like that, an instant where everything changes, and what seemed like just another obligation becomes the encounter that redefines your story. Today, you'll embark on a journey of love and destiny, where an unexpected fall at a glamorous event brought two souls together in ways no one could have predicted. Press play, because this is a story about the power of chance and the connections that take us by surprise. It was a night illuminated by spotlights, the buzz of people echoing through the hall, and suddenly, everything went dark. The sound of the crowd vanished, and what was left were the rhythmic steps of high heels striking the runway. The venue was the most anticipated event of the season, where the elite of society gathered, each one eager for the grandeur of the fashion spectacle. Anticipation hung in the air, dense and palpable. Ollie, the most awaited model of the night, was about to appear. The light returned, but this time only a single spotlight illuminated the center of the runway, revealing her. Ollie was more than beautiful. She had a presence so captivating that it stole the breath of everyone around. Her steps were graceful, confident, almost divine. The dress she wore seemed like an extension of herself, moving magically, flowing with every step. And while everyone watched in awe, there was one pair of eyes that couldn't look away. Ramón Mendoza sat in the front row. He was an influential businessman in the world of fashion, accustomed to luxury, beauty, and power. Nothing usually impressed him, but when his eyes locked onto Ollie, the whole world around him disappeared. His breath stopped for a moment, and a single word echoed in his mind: perfect. It was as if time had stood still. He forgot everything: the business, the obligations, the meetings. In that moment, there was only Ollie. The sound of Ollie's steps on the runway, so rhythmic and confident, filled the hall. With every movement, the audience held their breath, captivated by her almost ethereal presence. Ollie was always known for her impeccable precision. She was the star of the night, the model who never made a mistake. Each performance was a spectacle of grace and elegance, and that night she felt more secure than ever. But suddenly, everything changed in the blink of an eye. The high heel of her shoe twisted unexpectedly beneath her foot, as if the runway itself had decided to betray her trust. Ollie felt her balance waver, something that had never happened in her entire career. Her heart raced, and she desperately tried to regain control, but it was too late. The weight of the moment pulled her down, and she began to fall. Ollie staggered, almost falling again, and a small whimper escaped her lips. Ramón, without a second thought, caught her before she could hurt herself further. "You are not okay," he said with a firmness that left no room for discussion. His gaze met hers, and Ollie saw something she rarely noticed in the people around her: genuine concern, with no ulterior motives. She hesitated for a moment, surprised by the intensity of that care. Ramón wasn't a close friend, nor someone with whom she had any personal connection beyond their well-known names in the world of fashion. But here, titles meant nothing. They were just two people, connected by an unexpected situation. Without saying another word, Ramón lifted her in his arms again, ignoring the curious glances from the crowd. He carried her with determination off the runway, his imposing presence deterring any attempt at interruption. Ollie relaxed, finally accepting that she needed help, and a wave of gratitude washed over her. The world around them seemed to have disappeared, and all that mattered was that, in that moment, she was not alone. The car cut through the city streets under the intermittent glow of the streetlights as Ramón drove with focus, but he couldn't help casting worried glances at Ollie. The hospital wasn't far, but the tension between them made the time feel longer, heavy with a silence charged with energy. When they finally arrived, Ramón parked the car quickly and stepped out to help her. With gentle movements, he lifted her in his arms again, and despite the gravity of the situation, there was something undeniably intimate in the way he held her. In the emergency room corridors, the world seemed to move in slow motion. Nurses, doctors, and patients passed by, but Ollie could only focus on Ramón's face, which remained firm, almost protective. He stayed by her side the entire time as the doctor examined her ankle. When the diagnosis came, just a sprain, nothing serious, a sigh of relief escaped Ollie's lips. She leaned back on the hospital bed, feeling exhaustion and pain mix with something she couldn't quite explain. Ramón was there, standing, watching her with a genuine concern she hadn't expected. They weren't friends, barely knew each other outside the superficial world of magazine headlines. He was a powerful businessman in the fashion industry, she, a renowned model. But there, under the fluorescent hospital lights, those titles seemed irrelevant. They were just two people connected by something that defied any definition. Ollie looked at him, her voice soft but filled with emotion. "Thank you, truly. You didn't have to do all of this. We barely know each other, and yet you stayed. You helped me in such a genuine way." She paused, trying to control the wave of vulnerability she felt. "People usually only see what they can gain from someone like me. But you stayed." Ramón watched her for a moment, his dark eyes softening. He bent down slightly, coming to her level, and a gentle smile appeared on his lips. "I'm not the kind of person who holds back when it comes to helping someone in need, especially when I feel it's the right thing to do." He took a deep breath, his eyes searching hers. "And you're not just a famous model to me, Ollie. On that runway before all this, I saw something in you that no one sees in the magazines. I saw strength, I saw grace. And when you fell, I knew I couldn't just stand by." Ollie was speechless for a moment, her heart racing at his words. There, in that sterile hospital space, the connection between them seemed to grow, intense and unexpected. She felt a tear threaten to escape, but she held it back, trying to stay strong. Ramón smiled again, this time with a warmth that made her heart swell. "I'd stay here as long as it takes. Don't worry." And there they were, two souls who, even without knowing each other deeply, felt that this encounter had more meaning than either of them could have imagined. From that moment on, something changed between them. What started as an accident turned into a series of meaningful encounters. Ramón, who was always known for his cold demeanor in business, began to reveal a more human, caring side. One evening, he surprised her with food and flowers, transforming the atmosphere of Ollie's apartment into something almost magical. The conversation flowed naturally, full of laughter and stories. Ollie shared about her humble beginnings, about her strong mother who encouraged her to follow her dreams. "My mom always said my beauty would be my passport to a better future, but that I should never rely on it alone," she said, her eyes shining with pride. Ramón listened intently, absorbing every word as if they were precious secrets. He was used to hearing superficial stories, but Ollie's touched him differently. Her struggle, her strength, were things he admired deeply. "You are incredibly strong," he said, making Ollie blush. She was used to being admired for her looks, but hearing someone appreciate her inner strength was something new, something that left her speechless. The weeks passed, and the bond between them grew. Ramón decided to accompany Ollie to a fashion show in Paris, a magical city where their connection deepened. Under the lights of the Eiffel Tower, as they walked together, small gestures became grand displays of affection. Every hand touch, every smile, built something they both knew was special. And there, in beautiful Paris, they made a promise to nurture the love that had been growing between them for days. Ollie never imagined she would find love in such an unexpected way, but she could no longer deny or hide that the connection she had with Ramón since the moment she fell on the runway was inevitable and strong. Ramón felt the same and didn't want to miss the chance to experience that intense love. And on the bridge of love in Paris, they kissed and sealed a beautiful commitment. But not everything was easy. Upon returning, Ollie had to face Ramón's traditional family. Rosie, his mother, was an elegant woman with an air of superiority that made Ollie uncomfortable. Rosie subtly questioned their differences, not just socially but also culturally. Ollie kept her composure, facing the indirect remarks with the same courage she had shown when facing life's challenges. "Ollie is more than a model," Ramón said, defending her during a tense dinner. "She is an incredible woman who deserves respect." Ramón's words carried weight, and Ollie felt strengthened by his defense. The initial resistance of the family was gradually overcome, and Ramón's marriage proposal became a milestone of acceptance. He asked for the blessing of Ollie's mother, showing respect for her family and everything she represented. The wedding was planned with love, and friends and family gathered to celebrate that long-awaited union. Rosie, who had once been so critical, finally realized how special Ollie was and welcomed her with sincerity. On the wedding night, under a starry sky, Ramón waited at the altar. When he saw Ollie approaching, his heart raced. He knew this was the most important moment of his life. Ollie also felt the weight of that decision, but when she met Ramón's eyes, she felt an overwhelming certainty that she was exactly where she needed to be. The officiant began the ceremony, but all that mattered was their connection. The promise of a future together, of a love built on overcoming challenges and mutual respect. After the ceremony, Ramón and Ollie shared moments of joy with their now united families. Rosie, with newfound admiration for Ollie, said, you have taught us so much about acceptance and strength." Ollie smiled, moved. Love had triumphed. Under the stars, surrounded by friends and family, Ramón and Ollie embarked on a new life. What began as an accident on the runway had transformed into a true, deep, and hopeful love story. And so they lived, learning and growing together, remembering that sometimes, destiny catches us by surprise but leads us exactly where we need to be. Their journey shows us that true connections are built not only in moments of glory, but also in vulnerability. Ollie, who was always used to being strong and unshakable, found safety and support in the arms of someone who saw her for who she truly was. Ramón, the ever-focused and controlled businessman, let himself be guided by emotion and discovered that true value lies not in maintaining control but in opening up to the unexpected. In the end, Ollie and Ramón teach us that true love transcends titles and expectations, that it is in the simplest and most authentic experiences that we find what truly matters. And sometimes, the greatest magic of all is simply allowing someone to reach us when we need it most. If you fell in love with Ollie and Ramón's journey, full of unexpected encounters, moments of vulnerability, and the transformative power of love, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories like this. Here, every narrative is crafted to touch your heart and remind you that love can bloom in the most unlikely places. Share this story with someone you love and comment on what you think about this magical connection between the characters. And remember, life is always full of surprises, and you never know when destiny is about to change everything.